participants of HQ's Fitness Health Best Self 2017. I'm Emily, and I'm here to take you through your personalized stretching routine. So it's going to take about 10 to 15 minutes for you to do this on your own. We would love for you to do it daily. It's best done after a workout or after you've been active. Stretching cold muscles is not ideal, so make sure that you're warm for this stretch. And we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to go from the feet all the way up to the head, and we're going to start first with your calves. So you'll find a spot against the wall, and you're going to first put your foot into the wall. And I want you to try to think about keeping your foot as flat as possible. So not allowing those toes to flex out, keeping as flat as possible. Your leg is also straight. You're going to place your heel down of the leg that you're stretching, and then the other foot, as your hands are on the hands are on the wall for support, you're going to push yourself into that wall. You'll feel this stretch in the high part of your calf. You're going to hold this for about 30 seconds and then come out of that stretch. Now you're going to bend your knee. And from here, same thing, press yourself into the wall. That stretch is now going to move down into your Achilles tendon, your low calf. It's going to give you a really great stretch on the bottom of the foot. This is especially helpful for anyone that has plantar fasciitis or heel spurs. Should feel good, all right? So 30 seconds in each position on each side. You're going to do both sides. So 60 seconds total per side per day. That's not a lot to ask. So from here on out, we're going to be needing a mat and some sort of strap. It might be a towel or a jump rope, but something that's about as long as your arm width. A little bit longer is okay. And then you're going to use that for different elements of stretching. It's also helpful to have a pad of some kind. So if you're at the gym, you can use an ab mat or an aero mat. If you're at home, a rolled up towel or a pillow will work just fine. All right, here we go for our next stretch. Hello, and now it is time to stretch out the hip flexors and your quadriceps. So I have two different options. For those of you who are comfortable with being on your hands and knees, and on your knees in particular, I'm going to go through this stretch first. This is where that pad or that mat might come in handy. Only if you have sensitive knees and you definitely know that you would like a little extra padding. So this is some hard floor with a thin yoga mat over the top of it. So I'm going to use this just to support my knee a little bit. I'm going to start first in an all fours position. And the leg that I'm going to stretch right now is going to be my left side. So I'm going to take that knee, I'm going to place it on that pad. And then my hands are on the ground, and I'm going to now step my right leg into a lunge forward, all right? And you know, it might take you a little bit of maneuvering to get that leg up, that's completely fine. Hands are now on the ground, and then you're going to hinge forward into the stretch. And where you should be feeling this is right at the front of that hip, all right? It's really important to really line your body up here. So keeping your hips square, shoulders square. This should feel, again, nice. This shouldn't feel excruciating. Now, if you want a little extra here and go into the quadricep a little bit more, just bend your knee a little bit. That's going to take that stretch into your quadricep. All right, so 60 seconds per side here. Now your other option. So you really don't like being on your knees. It's incredibly uncomfortable. That's totally fine. What you want to do, come onto a lying position, and then you could be lying on the bed, you could be lying on the ground. It's completely up to you. On the couch, anything, it's totally fine. You're gonna lie down on your side, and again, I'm going to stretch the front of my left hip. So I'm gonna bend my knee, and I'm gonna reach around with my hand. Notice how my knee pops up a little bit. That's just to give me a little bit of help to hold on to that foot, and then I'm gonna try to drop my knee down as close to the other knee as possible. This is going to stretch the front of my hip and my quadricep at the same time. So 60-second hold here. If your flexibility is such that this kind of knee bend isn't doable, that's fine. That's where you use a strap. So you can wrap a strap around your ankle, hold on to that strap, and that will take care of this stretch for you. All right, so that is your hip flexor and quadricep stretch. Enjoy. All right, so next up, we're gonna go into your outer hip and into your hamstrings. So this one is gonna be best done lying on the floor. We'll start with your outer hip. So I'm gonna lie down on the floor on my back. My knees are bent. I'm gonna start by stretching my right side. So I'm gonna take my right ankle over and across on my left knee. From here, I'm going to lift my left knee, my left foot off the ground, and I'm gonna reach behind and I'm gonna grab either behind my thigh or my shin, all right? Now, one thing that I don't wanna see happen is this kind of movement where you're barely being able to hold on and your shoulders and your hips are both off the floor. What that indicates is that your hips are actually stretching just fine if you're in this position, okay? So we want to think about posture when stretching. Just as there's a right and a wrong way of squatting, there is a right and a wrong way of stretching. We want to make sure that we're actually isolating that outer hip, that outer glute muscle. So again, lying on your back, ankle crossed over the knee, lift the foot that's on the ground, reach through, hold, 60 seconds per side. So that is our outer hip stretch. Then, once you've done both sides, of course, we're gonna go into a hamstring stretch, and this is where a strap comes in very handy. So I'm using a yoga strap. You can use a towel, you can use an old t-shirt, you can use any sort of strap. Be creative, have fun with this. So I'm gonna now stretch my left leg. I'm gonna take the strap and I'm gonna put it around the middle of my foot. Then my other leg is gonna be straight on the floor. I'm gonna straighten my leg that I'm stretching to a point where it's straight but not hyperextended. All right, from here, without letting my hips pop off, without letting my back collapse, I'm gonna lightly pull on this strap until I come to a stopping point. And that's where my hamstrings, the back of my knee, the muscles on the back side of my leg are telling me no more. This especially shouldn't be felt in your back. This should be felt in your hamstrings only. So you're going to hold and pull for 60 seconds. You'll notice that during that 60 seconds, the length of that hamstring is gonna get longer and longer and longer. And that is a really great passive way to stretch those hamstrings. So 60 seconds on each side of outer hip, 60 seconds on each side of hamstrings. There you go, that takes care of that part of your legs. All right, we have worked our way up from our calves to the backs of our legs, the fronts of our legs, and into our hips. Now I want to get a little bit of our low back, and we're going to go up into our upper back and shoulders a little bit. So this one is on your knees, so I'm going to show you options for not being on your knees in a moment. But we're going to start, and this is kind of a modified child's pose. So my knees are wide, my ankles are narrow. I'm going to sit back on my heels as much as is comfortable, and then I'm going to walk my hands forward in front of me. I'm going to get to a point where my arms are straight, and then I'm going to really sink my hips back, reach my arms forward, and drop my chest to the floor. This is going to get a whole host of muscles in the upper and lower back, and it's also going to get this underarm part of your latissimus dorsi muscles that are incredibly helpful with posture and pulling, really big muscles. In fact, they're the second largest muscle of the body, so it's good that we stretch them. So you're gonna drop your chest to the floor, feel that stretch move through the entire backside of your back, and hold that for 60 seconds. So, what if this low back position does not feel comfortable for you on your knees? That is completely fine. First things first, you're gonna sit in a position that is comfortable for you. So on the floor, it could be cross-legged, it could be butterfly position the way I am now, it could be feet in front of you. Whatever it is, it should be comfortable and maintainable for you. From here, all you're gonna do is tuck your chin and roll yourself down and slightly forward until you feel a little bit of a stretch in the low back. Breathing in and out, and feel that every time you exhale, you're going to get closer and closer into the bottom of that stretch position. This should feel really, really good for you, all right? So say that straight leg position doesn't feel comfortable, that's fine. This butterfly position, you can do the same thing. Cross-legged position, you can do the same thing. You can even do this seated in a chair. So those are all of those are options for stretching your low back. For lats, if you do not want to do the all fours modified child's pose, the same thing goes. So a seated position that is comfortable for you. It could be in a chair, it could be on the floor, it's completely up to you. But once you're there, you're gonna take your arms up overhead, fingertips toward the ceiling, and then interlace your fingers and think of pressing your palms up a little bit. There shouldn't be a huge hyperextension of your elbows, just a little bit of a pull. Then we're gonna stretch this side, my left side of my body. So with my right arm, I'm gonna pull over to the right. And I feel a stretch going from the insertion point of that lat muscle all the way down under my armpit, into my side and down into my lower back. I'm gonna hold that for 60 seconds. Come back up. Other side, 60 seconds. So, child's pose that gets both lat and lower back, you're gonna hold for 2 minutes. If you're doing your lats and your lower back separately, I want you to do a minute in each position. So a minute of lower back, a minute of lat left, and a minute of lat right. All right? All right, only a couple of stretches left and then you are done. So we're gonna go into your tricep muscles and your chest. So first things first, I'm gonna sit on the floor or potentially on a chair in a comfortable position. To stretch my chest, I'm gonna take my hands behind me, thumbs pointed out, fingertips pointed back. And I'm gonna walk my hands close together in a comfortable position. Where I want you to be focusing on feeling the stretch is across the front of your chest, not in the front of your shoulder. This should not be a shoulder joint discomfort. This should feel like a good stretch in your chest, maybe a little bit into your biceps as well. So hands reach behind me, thumbs to the outside, fingertips to the back, and then I'm gonna push into the floor and lift my chest. And I'm gonna hold this position for 60 seconds. It's a wonderful opening position, completely undoes everything that we do during the day on our computers and driving cars and on our cell phones and what have you. So that's your chest stretch, holding that for 60 seconds. Alternatively, if you do not feel comfortable putting your arms behind you on the floor, you can go on a doorway, one arm on one side, one arm on the other side, lean forward and feel a stretch there as well. So lots of options for that chest stretch. All right, next up is your triceps. Super easy stretch. So this can be seated in a chair, seated on the floor, it's completely up to you. You're gonna take one arm up with the thumb out and the hand going back behind you. Then you're gonna bend your elbow and reach for the middle of your back, as if you were trying to pat yourself on the back for getting nearly through this stretching routine. Gotcha. Then you're gonna take your other hand up and over, just hold behind the elbow, and you're just gonna pull a little bit. Now, what often happens with people is that they arch their back. I don't want you to arch your back. I want you to keep your back nice and neutral and get the stretch coming from the arm itself instead of from the back. It doesn't matter how far back that elbow gets, as long as you feel a good healthy stretch in the back of your arm. 60 seconds on your right, 60 seconds on your left, you should be good to go. And finally, neck stretching. Very important to stretch the parts of your neck that are working so hard throughout the day. Your head can weigh anything from like 8 to 12 pounds. That's a lot of weight for these muscles from the back of your neck, the side of your neck, and the front of your neck to work. So we're gonna start first with just a very simple ear to shoulder stretch. I want you to think about looking straight forward, just dropping your ear to shoulder. You should be feeling a good stretch along the side of your neck, maybe even up into the top of your shoulder. If you want a little additional work here, take that other hand and reach it out and away from you. And that's just gonna add a little bit of traction to this stretch. 60 seconds on one side, come back to center, 60 seconds on the other side. All right, that is your stretching routine for your 6-week challenge. Again, we would love to see you do this every day. It's not a huge time commitment, and you will definitely feel the benefits of continuing to work on your body and help it recover after all of the work that you're going to be doing for this 6 weeks. So from me and from Marianne and from Carrie, we are all excited to be part of your team and can't wait to get this 6 weeks going.